and welcome to Good on Weiskamp's Web Development. Today we're doing Lesson 13, SQL Server, getting the table identity key value. So today we are going to find out how you can get the latest identity key value that was placed into a table. So to explain that a little bit, so when an order or when an item is inserted on a table, normally you have a primary key or a primary ID field which is also created. So a number which points to that item that was created on that table. These are normally self-generating, and sometimes you want to know which one was actually inserted to place that and to find out information and to use that information elsewhere in a process. It's one of those things that I can probably explain better through code and by showing than talking about. So yeah, I'm using Microsoft SQL Server 2014 today, which might be of some help to people. Okay, so let's go into SQL Server. And that's this guy here. So first of all, we're going to do some creation of tables because we need tables to do stuff with. So this is a G-order data table. It's got a number of keys, and as you can see, the first one, the ID, is going to be this ID field which I was telling you about. It's got this identity, which so every time an item is put into this table, this ID field will get an auto-generated number. So once we insert our first item name in there, let's say call it a book with a price of $2, this ID field will be set to 1. Once we put something else in there, another order, this will then this next one will be 2, because of that it's automatically seeded here by the use of this identity field. So what we're also going to be looking at is how can we find out the number that's inserted in here automatically and use that information in another process. So that's what I was trying to explain before, and that's what we're going to look at. So, but first let's create this table. I'm creating it on this employee information table that I've made here. So let's just execute that. Okay, so he's done. Next, next table is a sort of order history table, as you can see. And again, he's got also a ID column here, just like the last one. Instead of here, this is going to be our storage table. It's going to hold an order number, which comes from that order, an order ID number, which comes from this table here that we just created. And it's going to get a ID field from the user table, which we're creating here. So this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you create a process that works in the back end to record certain ID fields from two other tables. In this case, can I split screen this? Don't think we can. Oh, maybe, yeah, there we go. Oh, cool. So this might help. That's the trigger. No, that's that one. So that's this one. So when we insert an item in here, the ID value will end up in this field here by the use of another code. But first we have to create this table here, so let's just do that. He's created, so we've created this guy and this guy. Now let's make our user data table. As you can see, just the username and age, and he's also got this ID field which will be self-seeded by the use of this identity field. And this user data table just used to store a username and an age. We're keeping it all quite simple. So if we execute that, so when a entry is done on this table, we want to record in the order history the user ID that was created, which was in here. So we want this piece of information to flow into this field, into this table, when insert happens on this table here. Okay, so I think that's all our tables done. So if we just, let me knock that out for once. So let's just see if all our tables are here. Our last one. Alright, okay, all our tables are there. So currently we've got no information there. So let's put some information in there. Right now we have not put the process in which will put information on this table if a insert is done on this table here. I was just looking at something else. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So sorry, if an insert is going to be done on this table here, we want the latest ID from this field here and the ID that was created in here put into this field here. So this GUserData's ID will end up in this field here, and the GOrderData ID field information will end up in here once we do a insert on this table. So right now we haven't put any of that in place. So now if we just do that, we insert, let's just insert everything here. Oops, no, that was not what I wanted. Execute that. Okay, there we go. So currently we've got two users here. You can see these self-generated fields that I was talking about. They're self-generated in both tables, and we've got these, orders of a book, a mobile phone, and two users there. Nothing was put on the order history table, which is not good because we haven't put that in play yet. Now let's do that. So this here, apart from, there's another concept here that I will be bringing into this debate or this lesson, is we're creating a trigger. Now a trigger is something which you can put on a table, and we're putting it here on this GOrderData, or you can, let's call it, associate it with a trigger, something you can associate with a table. Now it's called a trigger because the way it works, when an action is done on this table, it triggers something to happen. In other words, it'll trigger the code inside to happen, which is this code here. Now you can have a trigger for many different things, and I will make a tutorial just on triggers. But in this one, we're doing a trigger on this table. When an insert happens, this code will happen, if that makes sense. So this trigger, when an insert on this table happens, we're going to insert on this GOrder history table. What are we going to insert? We're going to insert the latest, order ID that was latest order ID that was created, and the latest GUserData ID that is out there. How does that magic happen? There's a number of things to explain here. It's this guy here. This guy gets the latest ID field, which, can I move over? Whoa, we got three things happening here now. Bit too much information. Let's try and do something here. Okay, got it. Okay. Whoa, that's not what I wanted either. Oh. So which table here? GUserData. So this field here will end up in this area here, because this guy will grab that ID value and find out which is the latest one, and stick it in this parameter here, which means it ends up on this field here. And the same happens with the G order table. Instead it goes to its table, grabs its latest ID value, and puts it in this value here. So let's create this trigger. Okay, so the trigger is now in play. Okay. Okay, righto. So now there's going to be some magic happening when we do an insert on this order table. Currently, if we do an insert now, let's do some different information. Car and computer. We're not going to insert a user. We'll just insert this here. What's going to happen in this order history table? Well, first of all, two things are going to be added here into our table, and those values are going to be 3 and 4, the IDs, because they're self-generated. We're not going to insert anything on this table here, so they're still stuck at 2. But now information will be inserted into this G order history table because of that trigger we just created. Was that here still? Because of that trigger we created, which was here. So once we insert information there, information will now end up here. Let's just do that. Seeing is believing, I guess. Now let's select information on all those 3 tables. And there we can see information is now on our order history table. Again, this is self-generating, these item IDs here. But we can see 3 and 4, they have come here from this order table, order data table, and you can see here, it's got the latest ID field here from the user data table. And because there was nothing put on there, it's just putting those ones on there. That never changes. So this is a roundabout way of saying some sort of order history table process, which you can keep information about IDs of an order. So you could say this user bought that order, you know, on a certain date. Then you could add certain more information. If we were now to say, let's do big inserts on those. Let's have a look in all the tables. And so now, well, sorry, we still got Fred and Mary, but now what you're going to see here is 2, 3, 4, so 4 and 4. We have here 5 and 6 was put in. So 5 and 6, and then 4 and 4 were put in. So here, the 4 was put in. Yeah, so that's just a brief look at identities. To be honest, and I'm always honest, I'm a little bit perplexed because I was expecting a 3 to end up here in this field here. There should have been 3 and 3, 4 and 4, just like this is 5 and 6. So to be honest, I don't know what happened there, but you get the gist of this process, which is what it's all about. So the gist of this process is trying to find out the latest ID from those tables and inserting them on a history table in a way. So that's what the ident current can be used for, and this was also a little bit of information on how triggers work. Where a trigger is found, we might have a quick look at that as well. So if we refresh our tables, Okay, so order data, yep, here. So here's this is where the triggers will be created and they're kept. This is this guy over here, but I'll try to make a lesson just on triggers. But if you forgive me, I am a little bit perplexed why Dave and Mike, so if we insert all together, we do a select. Yeah, I don't understand, because that's 7, 8, and that should be 5 and 6. So something is going wrong. It's probably how I've created the trigger. Because what I think is happening here is it's grabbing always the latest, and the trigger is created on that table. So this is probably not the better way of doing this whole process, because yeah, we're always getting the 6, 6 here. But that's technology. Sometimes these things work for you, sometimes they work against you. But the core logic of this lesson is here, and you can get the ID fields here from the tables by using this ident current value here. Alright, thanks guys, I hope you got something out of that. Feel free to play around with this sort of technology and work through it. Thank you. Bye.